Actually, I never grew up until I left.
Until you left.
That's why I left, so I could grow up. You know, it's just a typical small town. I mean, I went through about a lot of experiences in the, you know, in the town that I grew up in. Had some bad experiences, you know, after I was forced to retire in '96.
I had a better chance of winning the lottery than contracting this disease. I have never been so wrong in my life.
Everybody turned against me. I mean, it was really strange, you know. It's a very dark umbrella to live under for such a long time. And you know, if it had to happen to somebody in my family, I'm glad it happened to me, because I think that if it happened to somebody, one of my other family members, I think they'd be dead already.
When people come and stop you on the street, autographs and such, is it Tommy Gunn or is it Tommy Morrison?
You know, it's about 50-50 probably.
Come on, Tommy, Jeff!
I've been boxing a lot longer than I was in the movie business. But the movie business is something that you know, I have a huge desire to do that. You know, when I had the opportunity to do the film back in '90, you know, I really realized I had a lot of passion for acting. You know, because every great actor has a really screwed up lifestyle that, you know, that he draws from. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to flex my muscles in acting, you know, because that's what I want to do. And you know, acting is being able to, you know, not everybody has the ability to do that. You know, everybody wants to be an actor, but when you get in front of a camera, but I've been in front of a camera my whole life, so I'm used to it. But yeah, when you get in front of a camera, you can become whoever you want, you know, and I like that, because there's a lot of people in here that wants to come out.
Some of your greatest achievements in the ring, obviously winning the title.
Yeah, I think we're probably, you know, beating Foreman for the WBO title and also beating Razor Ruddock in '95 for the IBC title. Anytime you win a title, you kind of set yourself apart. And, you know, those are good wins. But, you know, in the heavyweight division, every win is good, you know, because you're only as good as your last fight. You know, I mean, you can, well, I can speak from experience. You know, I come off one of the greatest fights I ever had against George Foreman and come to Tulsa, fight Michael Bent and get caught with a shot, you know. I mean, stuff like that happens. But when you're white, it ain't supposed to happen. You know what I mean? And that's the pressure that I get from society. I'm not a racial person. I'm not bought into that great white hope and all that stuff. I mean, that's created by the media. You know, you guys create that animal. You know, all we do is fan the flames, you know, and try to ride it out. I went through a lot of changes over the last, you know, 10 or 15 years. You know, I've had to overcome a lot of obstacles. You know, every time I step out my doorway, it's starting to get better now, but, you know, years ago, people didn't want to breathe the same air you're breathing. You know, you walk into a room, you get that look like, oh, hide the children. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's a difficult thing to deal with, but I always knew in the back of my heart and the back of my mind that something had to be wrong. You know, and now we're finding out that what I always said years ago when people told me I was crazy, oh, you're living in denial, all that sort of thing. Well, it's not so. You know, I was right 15 years ago, and my story's never changed. And I would be the least likely person that would be in a situation like that, you know, I mean, because back then it was like a gay disease and this and that, you know, but it can happen to anybody. But I still, you know, believe that I'm as healthy as I've ever been. You know, I'm 230 pounds and stronger and probably in better physical shape than I've ever been in my life.
How frustrating was it kind of missing out on your prime from '96 to 2007? Well,
yeah, of course it's frustrating, you know, when you're sitting back watching fights on the couch, you know, and you're like, I could beat that guy, I could beat that guy, I could beat all those guys, you know, and yeah, it's frustrating. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. You know, here I am now making a comeback, trying to give America what they've always wanted, you know, a white heavyweight champion. I mean, that never was a big priority to me, but now, since all, you know, the champions at this point are all foreigners, and they're all Russian, from Ukraine, I mean, that's the first time that's ever happened in the history of boxing, where there's never been an American heavyweight champion.
This Vladimir can hit. This knockdown.
As hard as I try to work to get back in the sport, the powers that be are working twice as hard to try to keep me out. It's weird. It's a little strange, you know. Here you are trying to give America what they've always wanted, and they're trying to shove it back in my face. But I'm not the type of guy that gives up, you know what I mean? And once I get my head wrapped around something and I build a vision around it, it happens. Every time it happens. And I've already built the vision. It's just a matter of being more consistent, you know, with fighting. You know, every time certain states, I, you know, find different states that I can fight. But after the first of the year, I'm going to go to Vegas and put an end to all this, you know, and answer everyone's questions, and then we can get on down the road and start making some things happen.
Tony Holden's a big name in the area still. What happened between you guys?
What happened was I couldn't put asses in the seats anymore. You know, when you get kicked out of the sport, I'm no good to anybody anymore. So, you know, that's just the nature of the beast of boxing. You can't sell tickets anymore. Get out of the way. There's somebody behind you that can. You know, it's just a rotating gerbil wheel that, you know, you get kicked off, you get kicked off. Now I got kicked off, you know, 12 years ago, and now I'm trying to crawl back on, and they're still trying to kick me off, but they're not gonna win. You know, I'm gonna win the. You know, you know, getting kicked out of boxing in '96, I felt like I'd lost the battle, but I haven't lost the war. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of battles that go on around a war, and I'm looking forward to getting back in there and making some waves. You know, looking forward to possibly coming to Kansas City and you know, Missouri and Oklahoma, and you know, trying to excite people again. Nobody's excited about boxing anymore, particularly in the heavyweight division. There's no one to watch. I had 2 boxing matches, and I fought in a cage fight, one of them octagon type things, and I fought a 350-pound guy that, you know, I'd never been attacked by an SUV before. It's the first time. But I got him out of there, you know. He was I didn't know the rules. You know, they wouldn't tell me what the rules were, and it was a stand-up striking match. I didn't know if you could elbow, can you headbutt, you know, they wouldn't tell me the rules.
What are your thoughts on the whole MMA craze? Is it something you'd be interested in?
Here's the bottom line with all that stuff. It's exciting to watch and all that. They're going to have to regulate a little more, because people, you know, I think finally somebody died just a couple months ago doing this sort of thing. You know, and when I fought in it, they wanted me to wear these 4-ounce, those little fingerless gloves. Well, if more fighters, and I'm telling you the truth, more fighters start making a transition over to MMA, they're going to have to regulate it, because fighters that know how to punch, because none of these, you know, those UFC guys, they don't know how to punch. They want to run in and grab you and try to twist your arm or something. But you got to get from point A to point B without getting hit right here. And when you're dealing with a fighter that's trained to hit a moving target, your chances are pretty slim. You know what I mean? So, but I got into one. I get all kinds of calls. People want me to do this all the time, and I just did it as a favor for a friend of mine who was a promoter, was promoting one of those, and I could get in there, make a little money, get a little exposure, and, you know. So that's what I did. I fought this big guy, and you know, got him out of there. But it's not something I would be real interested in doing again. You know, in terms of getting on the ground and grappling. I mean, I can do all that stuff, but in order for me to do it for a living, then I would have to, you know, go into training for a couple of years. Well, I don't got a couple of years. 39 years old. You know, I'm ready to stick with what I already know and what I've accomplished before, and you know, just go that route. Promoters and stuff in the sport of boxing, you know, they like to maintain all the power, you know, because they're the ones that control the sport. Well, there's, I think the internet's gonna knock that down, because, you know, promoters and stuff like that, you know, if you're a well-known fighter, you don't need a promoter. Promoters are, you know, managers are there to get you known. But if you're already known, then there's, you know, there's no need for it. And that way, every you know, you start doing pay-per-view fights over the internet for $5, not 45 or 55 bucks, you know, that not everybody can afford. You make it more affordable, and you take the power out of the hands of the promoters. All of a sudden, every fighter becomes his own promoter, you know, and it's going to clean up the sport. I mean, it's the future. But these old-timer, you know, all the powers that be, and, you know, in the sport of boxing, all the promoters, they don't want that to happen, because that takes the power away from them and puts it in the hands of the fighters.
Jerry Roth scores the belt, 118 to 109 for the winner and new champion, Tommy the Duke Morrison.
Has it been hard at all, training, getting back into it?
I've been at it for about 2.5 years now, you know, and it took about 6 months to get in there and start, you know, getting the wheels greased and getting your moves back. But when you've been doing something your whole life, you know, it's like breathing. You know, it comes back to you. It's like riding a bicycle. You know, you just got to get in there and knock off all the rust. You know, is basically what you're doing.
What's the next fight for you on the schedule?
Well, we're looking to fight in August, and then probably every other month after that. I just continue to stay in the gym, keep my wheels greased, and when I get the call, you know, then when you stay in shape all the time, then when you get the call to fight, then you know, you can go in the gym for 4 or 5 weeks, and you're ready to go. But being consistent is the main thing. I mean, I've fought 3 times in the last, you know, year and 3 quarters almost, and it's like every time I fight, it's like a media frenzy. People come in from, you know, and like, what's going on, and all this controversy, and nobody gives me the benefit of the doubt. Everybody thinks I'm lying. Now, why would I lie? You know, why? I mean, I said it, you know, 15 years ago or 12 years, however long it's been. I don't even remember, you know, that something had to be wrong. Well, I had hepatitis, which I didn't know I had. I didn't know how long I'd had it. Well, that'll cause you to, you know, to test positive for, you know, give you a false positive. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on in the sport right now that I think is going to change the sport, and I think it's going to clean it up a little bit. And, you know, so, and I hope to be a big part of that.